putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
April.
Sarah, is this an uncomfortable conversation about the sexual allegations for this White House, be it Al Franken or be it Whitmore?
I think it's an uncomfortable conversation for the country. I think that this is something that is being discussed pretty widely, and we certainly think that it should be taken very seriously. And it's one of the reasons I stand up here and answer your questions every day, and will continue to do so and continue to address them. Obviously, it's something that should be looked at, and I think it should be looked at widespread, not just in the political sphere, but in the business atmosphere and across the board in this country, and something we certainly, again, take seriously. Alex, I'm going to tight on time today.
Hillary Clinton today
April.
About the president's past. And going back to what Matthew said, she said, look, I worry about everything from his past because it tells you how he behaves in the present and will in the future. What do you say to that as it relates to these allegations against the president?
I think Hillary Clinton probably should have dealt with some of those of her own issues before addressing this president.
Welcome back, everybody. That was April Moore trying to stir up some mess with Sarah Sanders, spokesperson, White House PR person. And Sarah Sanders just, whatever. Yeah, look, April, whatever her name is, black chick, she wants to tie this all back to Donald Trump. Really? Nice try. I'd love to see them try to spin this back. You want to talk about been litigated? It's been litigated. Donald Trump is the most, we know more about this guy than we know about any president in the history of this nation. These people have looked for something on this man for the better part of 2 years. Maybe longer. Anyway, glad you guys are still with me. KJRadio.com is where you can get us on demand. 844-551-8255. Race Pimping is my book. We talk about it all the time. And I read this report from it was a Casey Research. The guy's name is Doug Casey. And he was discussing race. I've been talking about race and its fabric in America for quite some time. I've talked to people many, many times and said to them, if you don't understand how important this subject is in our political discussion, our political lexicon, you don't get it. Race is that. Look at April Ryan just asked a question about Donald Trump leading back to supposed allegations of Trump, doing things with women, which he didn't do. And you better know the significance of that black woman asking that question is it's important. The white women are no longer going to ask that question. April Ryan has permission. How many times have you guys said to me, you sent me notes? By the way, we love them and we answer you back. Did you say to me things like, Kevin, you can say that because you're black? And I go, okay, whatever. I'm not going to, poo-poo in the punch bowl over the idea that if I were white, I'd be saying the same things. People would, Kevin, you'd be called a racist. Well, I've been called worse. If I were white, I would not have been a member of the Klan. I wouldn't be a member of some Aryan Nation group. I'd be a private citizen espousing my views. And I'd probably be, at this point, self-employed. In other words, put everything where it is right now. Self-employed, left management consulting, started writing. I don't know if I'd be on TV, how much coverage they would give me. But I know this, I'd probably have a radio show. I'd be making a living through my writing. And I don't know who would buy my books. Maybe the Aryan Nation might be buying my books left and right and ask me to speak. I wouldn't speak at their events. I wouldn't condone their actions, but I would doggone sure, as a private citizen white guy, say to the world, I'm not apologizing for my birthright, how I was born. I had no control over it. There wasn't a dial. They said, hey, baby, pick your race. You want to be black, white, whatever. And for the record, if I were a white kid, I'd go, I'm proud I picked white. Why would I pick something else? What do white folks have to be ashamed of? No less than anything black folks have to be ashamed of. We got a continent. Black people got a continent. And the most successful country on the continent that's full of black people is the little bitty part down south that's run by white folks. Now, do I like the Dutch and the Afrikaners, the fact that they've gone down there and abused black folks and put them in black ghettos and what have you? Jail dissidents? No. But I'll tell you this, they built a pretty successful little piece of the pie down there in South Africa. Look at all the other countries of Africa who could have gone down there and said, you know what, Dutch, we don't like the way you're treating us here, and we're going to come down there and kick your butt. They could have kicked butt. They didn't do it. They watched it happen. Idi Amin, he kicked all the Asians out. He kicked the Indians out. They could have gone down there and kicked all them white folks out of South Africa. They didn't do it. So who are you talking to? Oh, Kevin, they're doing that in Botswana, not in Botswana, other areas of the country. I can't remember where, but they took out all the white farmers, killed them in some cases. And you know what happened? It went to crap. They can't feed themselves anymore because the farmers knew what they were doing. All the white farmers were like, shoot, you want the farm? You're going to kill me over it? I'll leave. I'll go make a living somewhere else. And they did. So all I'm saying is, look, the people don't pick what they want. If I could pick, I would have picked to be born into a very wealthy family. Or maybe not. See, here's the way I look at it. I look at it that God picked for me. God picked for me. He said, Kevin, I'm going to put you in this lower middle class family, maybe even considered poor. And I'm going to give you, your parents are going to be a dad who went to prison and a mother who will die at the age of 5, while you're at the age of 5. And you will then be raised by your grandparents. And I'm going to teach you about life through that prism. And you know what? If God said to me, Kevin, you could go back and change it right now, what do you want to do? I'd say, Lord, leave it the same. As much as I miss my mother, as much as I would love to have spent more time and seen a loving family together, because she remarried Tommy, my stepfather. But you know what? God had a different plan. And if anything had changed, I'm not here doing this. And I don't know what the plan is for this. I don't know how many people I influence, how many people I've changed. But here's what I can tell you. I have changed them. So I'm looking at this thing on this report from Casey Research, Doug Casey, and he says, for one thing, he's talking about the case against how race in America is impacting things. And he's making a case to say, look, we don't need everybody voting in this country and all these other things. So here's what he says. For one thing, anyone can vote. People who are penniless, 18-year-olds who have no knowledge or experience and are fresh out of the indoctrination of high school. Lots of non-citizens, probably millions, manage to vote. Voting has become, as H.L. Mencken said, just an advance auction on stolen goods. What a great comment by Mencken. And by the way, if you want to read a person who is, he's at the highest level of intellect when it comes to the political discussion, Mencken is it. For another thing, he says, today the United States is multicultural. America used to have its own distinct culture. The United States no longer stands for anything. He's essentially saying that the world we knew doesn't exist anymore because we have become foolish in who we've let be in charge of it. He says race is just the most obvious thing that divides people. You can see that somebody's of a different race just by looking at them. The old saying about birds of a feather flocking together is basically true. It's very politically incorrect to make that observation, of course, certainly if you're white, but it's factually accurate. Most things that are PC fly in the face of reality. If people are of a different race, it increases the chances that they're not going to share other things. The key for a rational person is to judge people as individuals. Race, sex, religion, cultural background are quick indicators of who a person might be, as are dress, accent, attitude, and what they say, among many other indicators. You need as much data as you can to help you judge what the other person will do and who he or she is. It's actually quite stupid to not discriminate among people you encounter. But then the whole PC movement is quite stupid by its very nature. Now, I've said this many times, and here's what I've said to you. If you don't profile, you're an idiot. If you believe you don't profile, you're an idiot. Now, you can be in one or two of the categories. You profile everything. You profile the fruits and vegetables you're going to pick to bring home. You profile your daughter or boyfriend or girlfriend. You profile your son's girlfriend or boyfriend. You profile everything. You profile employees at your job. You profile the person you're going to get into a car with. You profile your friend. You profile everything. He says you can't have a multicultural democracy, and especially you can't have one where the government is making laws that have to do with economics, where it allocates wealth from one group to another. So sure, the U.S. is going to break apart, and you can certainly see it happening along racial lines. The active racism among blacks isn't an anomaly. He's right.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.